Every time we come to this point in the month, I do not know how we've gotten here, and yet again, this is exactly how I feel. It's the end of October. I have read and listened to 15 books and 2 novellas, so 17 in total this month, and I am going to do my October reading wrap up. I'm a little disappointed in this month's reads. We'll get into it as we go through the video, but honestly, I feel like I gave out so many more maybes than I normally do, and I need to have the next 2 months of the year to be yeses. So I need you to, while right now you are watching this video, I need you to comment down below something that you think I'm going to get 5 stars on my TBR, or even 4 or 5-star books that I need to read for the next 2 months of the year, because we cannot be not leaving the end of the year on a bang. I think I tried too hard to get into the fall spirit, which just left me with a bunch of meh books. So I'm determined not to do that the next 2 months. Without further ado, I still have some great insights, some awesome books, and some great recommendations, especially one book that I gave the easiest 5 stars to out of all of 2025. So let's do my October reading wrap up in yes, no, maybe style. But right before we get into it, I'm just going to say there are no spoilers in this video and nothing more that you wouldn't learn from the back of the book or the Amazon description. I'm going to try not to go too in depth because I know that we've all sort of decided that we don't want to know too much about a book before we get into it, and that's how we're going to do it today. So not a ton of juicy gossipy details, but I will give you my star ratings, my Goodreads, which you can add me on, by the way, so you can be friends, so I can stalk your TBR. You can also see what I'm reading in real time. And of course, I do my reading wrap ups as yes, no, maybes, as well as my top 3 on my other social media. So if you follow me on there, you get a little bit more insight into what I'm reading during the month. So without further ado, we got 17 books to get through. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start quickly with the 2 novellas that I read this month. They were part of Amazon Prime's Scared Sexy collection that they released. One was the Ali Hazelwood book and one was the Christina Lauren, 2 of my favorite romance authors. I personally didn't recognize the names of the other novellas, and I happened to see a girl rank them on TikTok and said that these were basically the 2 best ones anyway. So I decided just to read these 2 novellas, both of which for me are a maybe. I think I need to stop. I feel really left out when I haven't read a work by Ali Hazelwood or by Christina Lauren. I love Christina Lauren, I love Ali Hazelwood, and there's just no way that their works of art can't be read by me. So I have to know what's going on, even though I don't like novellas. I think that they're too short to really get into the plot. I don't know, every time I just feel left like disappointed and that I wasted 80 pages, 60 pages of my life. So I gave these 2 maybes, and I don't even know if I would suggest, like, even as a maybe, like, oh, maybe you can read him. Let's just say no for now, because we're getting into the holiday season. I'm sure you don't want to read like paranormal, spooky season books anymore. Maybe leave them on your list for next year. They were included for free if you have Amazon Prime. It's just kind of one of those things where I am so blessed to be reading the writing of 2 of my favorite authors, but novellas just don't really do it for me, so I'm gonna save my piece there. First of all, I listened to Lauren Graham's memoir this month. This is an absolute yes for me. I love Lauren Graham. I think she's hilarious. I've loved Gilmore Girls for a very long time, and this was actually one of like the Goodreads challenges, was a memoir, and this memoir was included. It's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and I absolutely loved it. I love that she narrated it, but I also love that I bought the book because there are a lot of pictures included in here. It is a short and sweet listen. I think it's less than 6 hours for this audiobook, and if you're like me and you listen on 2x speed, it's super short, but she is just hilarious, and I can't imagine reading this and not hearing what she has to say. So if you take anything out of this, if you love Lauren Graham, it's a yes, but listen to it as the audiobook. I actually got an advanced reader copy of The Irish Nurse at the Lodging House for an audiobook. I didn't really realize you could get audiobook advanced reader copies. I enjoyed this. It was a historical fiction, which I have been getting more and more into in the past couple of years, but it felt very meh. There were so many characters to keep up with, so many different paths crossing and lives happening. I think it was interesting to see a lot of different perspectives of the war and what people had to do to scrape by, to figure out what they were doing, the stuff that she had to deal with as a nurse. I thought this was a great book, but I am gonna put it on the maybe because personally, if you're not into historical fiction, I think that there are a lot better reads out there, but it wasn't a terrible listen as somebody who listens to a lot of books. Something that was in my opinion, terrible listen as somebody who listens to a lot of audiobooks. This is Murder at Blackwood Inn. I picked this off the library. I thought that the cover was so cute. Like, I saw this little cover and I was like, that looks like quaint, sweet, a little spooky for spooky season, and I was disappointed. I was really disappointed. I did not like the characters. I did not like what was going on in this book. I felt like it was a total waste of my time. I almost didn't finish it a few different times, but I just feel like usually I'm really not a quitter. I do not try and DNF a book unless it is absolutely necessary, but then I start thinking like, oh wait, actually what happened? Like, I just do need to know. I'm a little nosy when it comes to books, so I don't usually DNF things, but I think that this should have been a DNF, do not finish. So take that as you will. It was cute. Like, I feel bad. The author looked so sweet on the back, but this just was not for me at all. Sorry to go into yet another disappointing book, but I was so excited for Reese Witherspoon's new book to come out, Gone Before Goodbye, written also with Harlan Coben. I've never read a Harlan Coben book, but I just do love Reese Witherspoon and everything that she does. She narrates this book. Chris Pine is in this book. Like, they've got some big names doing the audiobook, which is why I wanted to listen to it. I did not like this book. I did not enjoy this. I was so shocked that I was listening to it going, I hate this book. If this isn't an unrealistic book, I'm just shocked at what goes on in the world. But Maggie and her surgery past and the things that she is doing in this book and the escapes and the la la la, and honestly how it ended, like, you think that there would be a twist in a book like this. I didn't enjoy the twist. I didn't really think it was very twisty. I thought that this was so strange. So save your time, go read something else. I'm just gonna let you know, it seemed so unrealistic and so weird. I felt like ChatGPT could have written this book. Sorry to say it, actually ChatGPT probably wouldn't have as many plot holes in it, so we're gonna leave it at that. Don't read it. But you know, a book that I was super pleasantly surprised with, Ellen Hildebrand's book with her daughter Shelby, The Academy. Didn't even realize when I first picked this up that this was going to be a series, and now I absolutely cannot wait for the next book, all about the lives of kids at boarding school. And I thought that this was so interesting, or I should say, like, students and staff at the boarding school. A lot of characters in this book, but once I got it under my belt, I was like, okay, totally understand. I read this book and just absolutely fell in love with it. Do not kill me. This was my first ever Ellen Hildebrand book, and I started The Perfect Couple at one point, and I just felt like it was really slow, and I wanted to watch the Netflix show, and then I just never ended up doing it. So this is my first official Ellen Hildebrand book, and I think I've just got to read some more of her books, especially when summer's starting to roll around again, because I know she's got a lot of those fun Nantucket, Cape Cod-esque stories. This one about the boarding school, I was shook. I don't know if her daughter went to a boarding school or if her daughter's just becoming an author. I don't know whose insight into boarding school, but I was like, oh, this is everything I needed it to be and more. I gave this 4 stars. So I was pleasantly surprised with this read. This was my last read of the month, and it really ended off with a bang. A highly anticipated read for me last month was Lila Sage's Soul Searching. This is paranormal romance, which I think is a first for her. I love the Wild and Wrangled Done and Dusted whole series that she's got going on, and this is a new series. I think it's called Sweetwater Peak. I was slightly disappointed knowing that I loved 3 out of 4 of her books in her other series with the Wild and Wrangled series. I just didn't fall in love with these characters so much. The main female character, Collins, really annoyed me for some reason, and I don't know if I will probably read the next book, but honestly I gave this one 3 stars, which I felt kind of shocked by because I thought for sure this was going to be a 4-star great read. And I understand, like, ghosts and paranormal stuff, it's not exactly like my #1 thing to read about, but I, again, excited for spooky season to read a book like this. I just was a little disappointed. Lila Sage, if you're watching this, I still love you, and I think I will read the next one, but just know, like, I wanted this to be a great start to a new series, and I personally did not feel that way. Another book that was highly talked about online was It's Different This Time. I never got the physical copy of this book. I read it on my Kindle, and I was dragging my feet through this book. But I liked the premise. The characters were only okay. Again, another slightly unrealistic ending, or slightly unrealistic, I feel like, middle fluff between the 2 characters. Definitely some spicy scenes in there. Definitely gets into the fall season, and I just read it after I went on a New York trip, so because it's set in New York, I felt like, okay, you know, I got a little bit of that New York romance in there. But I just kind of felt meh about it, which is why it's a maybe. It's a 3-star. I mean, yes, maybe I would say it probably borders on those 2, but again, I don't know. Maybe I just, like, wasn't really in the fall romance mood as I thought I was, because this really didn't do it for me. I think also I've been comparing everything to Julie Olivia's If It Makes You Happy with Cliff and Michelle. I talked about it last month. I won't stop talking about it. I have a signed copy in the mail on its way to me actually right now. That's how much I love the book, and I don't usually care about signed copies of things, so I feel like every other fall romance I've just been comparing to that book, and this one just fell flat for me. Audiobook listen I thought I would really like was How to Age Disgracefully. Again, I hate to say, another book with so many characters. It was hard to keep up on everyone's lives, and I also listened to it as an audiobook, but I don't really think that that has much to do with how I felt. Daphne, I did love Daphne, the main woman, and how it ended just kind of made me laugh. It kind of reminded me of The Thursday Murder Club, if you've ever read that book by Richard Osman. I listened to it last year, and I was getting the same sort of vibes with the retirement village, with all the older people kind of having all the time on their hands to like meddle in everyone else's business. This is a very similar type of a book. I did think that it had some sweet parts in it of them trying to save their community center and coming together, and also definitely some scheming by the older people, but it just was sort of a maybe for me. I felt like I almost wasted my time reading this book, but I mean, I guess it was cute to read. Just, again, wasn't my favorite. I'm sorry if I'm being so picky this month. Speaking of picky, I'm usually really picky with Frida McFadden's books, and everyone was hyping this up on the internet. I think I told myself toward the beginning of this year, I was like, no more Frida McFadden, because every time I try, yes, while I am listening to the audiobooks, I only really ever listen to her. After I physically read, I think it was The Teacher, I was like, never again. I'm not wasting my time sitting down to read a book. I will listen to her books, because whoever she gets to narrate her books, because it's different mostly every time, they just have me hooked. Like, I'm in it while I'm listening to her audiobooks, but then afterward I'm like, okay, that was kind of dumb. But while I'm listening to it, I am enjoying it. So same thing with this narrator. This is The Intruder. I heard so many people be like, this is one of Frida's best books yet. And at the beginning, I really thought, oh my gosh, yes, I'm really into this. Natural disaster. We don't know what's going on. And the plot twist, and I was like, I could have seen that coming. Honestly, I could have seen it coming. So a lot of people said they couldn't see it coming, but maybe I'm just a Frida sleuth. I do like the sprayed edges on the physical book, but I do think this one ended up with 4 stars though. Looking back, I probably would have given it 3, but I usually give Frida books a 3, and I did feel like this was a step up from the normal Frida book. Definitely wouldn't consider it one of my favorites, but I do think it's worth a listen, especially if you really like the thriller mystery listen. I think with the natural disaster, it makes it extra spooky. But, you know, it's always still a meh for me. I really one day want to be blown away by a Frida book. This just wasn't it. Another highly anticipated book, Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I thought Bride was just so different when I read it early last year. And so, of course, Mate has been an anticipated read for me. And wow, Ali, this was spicy. Almost a little too much for me toward the end at one point. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't like somewhat enjoy spice, but an abundance is usually too much for me, and sometimes I even like closed door romance is better. But I knew what I was getting into picking up an Ali Hazelwood book. I felt like it was really fast paced. I didn't feel like it dragged along at all, and I thought that there were really interesting elements both to the relationship, the family dynamics, pack dynamics, and of course, Cohen. I'm like, hello. He is a swoony guy. I think the fact, I'm not spoiling anything, but that he lied about knowing how to play the piano, I was like, swoon, a man. Usually girls are like, oh, I can't reach the top shelf when their man's around, but then they actually can. That was like the male equivalent to me of that happening in this book. So I did enjoy it. It was a little spicy. I don't know if I gave it 3 or 4 stars. I feel like 4 stars. It wasn't a 5-star read for me. For a romance book, it's a little thick, but then when you think about everything that has to go into the logistics of explaining things with werewolves, half werewolves, that kind of stuff, you need the pages to sort of understand the politics and the dynamics of the packs and the different packs and the human world, the vampire world, and it brings in elements from Bride. So I really did enjoy it, and I thought that this was a good read. A small little book, but this is the Honeycrisp Orchard Inn. I don't know what it is, but in the fall time, I just wish that I could go stay at a bed and breakfast. That is everything I want from a fall book. It's like small town, inn, bed and breakfast, small place, just everything. I thought that this was cute and cheesy, nothing groundbreaking, but for a fall romance book. See, if I could rate my books and my stars based on fall romance versus actual romance, this would have gotten a higher rating. I think I gave it around 3 stars because it was meh for a romance book. For a fall romance book, I thought it was cute. I loved the relationship of people. I love that the town is coming together to try and save both the inn and the harvest orchard. And I thought it was just like a swoony, cute little fall romance. So if you're still looking for that, I feel like this could totally go into November for a cute romance book. Nothing revolutionary, but adorable. I listened to this one again for another Goodreads challenge, but I think sometimes with these Goodreads Goodread challenges, they have me read books I would have never considered. So it was Hispanic Heritage Month, and I picked this one off the list for Hispanic Heritage Month. I was really, really, really impressed with the writing, the creativity. This was set in the Dominican Republic at a resort. There's a lot of drama right off the bat that I do not want to give away because it is sort of spicy drama. There's also spiciness in this book. Just, I thought that the creativity of the writing, and if this is a real resort, or not actually a real resort, but how resorts actually are in some places, wow, it's crazy, it's wild. But also seeing the difference between the local Dominican workers and the workers even that they pulled in, and the staff that they pulled in from other countries around the world, also versus the patrons who come to the hotel. There's a lot of different dynamics going on in this book. Pretty crazy stuff happens in this book. Another natural disaster, hurricane, comes in and strikes Dominican Republic in this book. So I think that in a time where hurricanes can strike, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be reading this. But I think this could be read at any time of the year. I thought it was really well done. I am going to give it a maybe because there are a lot of different sensitive topics in this book that you might not want to read about. And I think that it was a little long. There were points where, I mean, it's not really that thick of a book, but I did feel like it dragged on just a tad. But like I said, the creativity, the dynamics really makes you think outside the box and outside of yourself, which I enjoy to have at least once a month in a book. It's not every book, otherwise I feel like the world was too heavy, because I do read to escape a lot of times. But I was really, really impressed with this one. This is Jennifer McMahon's The Children on the Hill, another audiobook listen, and I was like on the edge of my seat listening to this book. And the twist, I didn't know the twist. I did not know. Like, I am so proud when I do know the twist, but I am also even more proud when I don't know the twist, because it makes me proud of the author. I'm like, yes, you really did that, to where I did not expect how this book was going to end. So I think that this is a great listen. Another like thriller, mystery, what's going on in this book, more family dynamics, but job on the ground at the end of this one. One more cheesy romance, because why not? This is Falling Like Leaves, another one that I heard a lot about on Book Talk. This is more of a high school romance. So it's sort of Gilmore Girls coded with the small town, the boy, going to school, all of that. And some family drama between Ellis's parents. So she kind of gets pulled from New York City to her mom's small town to live with her aunt in Connecticut. Again, very like Gilmore Girls-esque once she gets to Connecticut. And of course I love Gilmore Girls, so I was like, yes, give me some more. For a fall romance book, this is a 4-star, but I think for a regular romance book, 3-star. Like I said, nothing revolutionary, but it gets you into that fall spirit, and I do think that this would be great in November as well, if you're watching this in November and are looking for still some like fun fall books. If you're not like me and still want to read fall romance books in November, I'm kind of like, give me the Christmas. I want all of those books right now. But if you're not, this is a great one to add to your TBR. You know, I had to do it to you and end up with the 5-star read. Like I said, I think the easiest 5-star I've given out this year. This is a thick book. It was an even thicker audiobook. 30 hours. Well, I guess not even thicker, but a 30-hour audiobook listen, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And now that I've posted about this book, everyone is like, yes, the audiobook is the way to go. Not only because it's a thick one and you're able to, I guess, digest it easier with audiobook, but truly the narrator was absolutely incredible. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head because it was so good. This is my first ever Stephen King book. Oh, sorry, I should tell you what it's called. 11/22/63, and it's a reimagined story of the JFK assassination with time travel. So already a really interesting premise. You can tell so much research went into this book. Again, for Stephen King, I didn't really know what to expect other than I had seen so many incredible reviews of this, and I looked at it and I go, oh my gosh. Reminded myself, okay, I've read ACOTAR series, I've read Throne of Glass, I've read thicker books than this, I can do it. Let me tell you, I did not want to take my headphones off. I think I got through the 30 hours in like 5 or 6 days, which meanwhile is 15 hours because I listened to it on 2x, but still a lot of listening to a book. But I was like, where can I drive to? How much laundry can I do this week? How many times can I possibly empty the dishwasher? Like, I was doing anything and everything to have my headphones in. The end, like, very emotional. I just think there were a couple points where I felt like this book dragged on, but for the most part, like, truly did not want it to end. So Stephen King, you are this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. And like I said, I know it's a project. Like, this is a project to get through. This isn't some like little book that you're picking up for fun. This is a true and utter dedication to read this book, but it is so worth it. It's so worth it. I would read only this book in a month rather than 4 of like my other 3-star reads. That's how strongly I feel about it. So 5 stars. Amazing. I mean, just truly the detail, the descriptions, the way, at least if you're listening to it as an audiobook, the way that the narrator truly brings this story to life. My socks were blown off. So if you take one recommendation from me, don't even read another little small 300-page book just to say you read another book. Just read this one and trust me on it. Wow, I'm gonna need a sip of water after that. That was a lot of talking, but those are the 17 books that I read and listened to in the month of October. I don't know what on earth I'm getting into for the month of November. So like I said, leave me some great books down below because I'm kind of tired of giving books maybes. I'm trying to read the seasonal stuff, which I'm sure I will continue to do for November and December, but I think I've already decided. So pre-planning, and I'm gonna let you into my brain here. I'm gonna stop being so competitive with my reading for next year. I'm competitive on my reading based on my own reading last year. I wanted to read more books this year than last. Next year I've just decided I'm gonna read what I want to read. If that means no new releases, if that means no whatever, like I want to read the Crescent City series. I have quite a few books on my list that I just keep pushing off because new books are coming out. And I've decided already month of January, like I just want to read what makes me happy. So if there are ones like that for you, also leave them down below, but just be prepared, like January and maybe even into February. I know everyone wants to know about the new releases, but I'm trying not to stay too caught up in it for next year because I feel like there's just, like I said, things getting pushed down the list. So all that to say, if you have good books, leave them down below and I want to add them to my TBR. I love you guys so much. Whether you read no books, 1 book, 10 books, 20 books this last month, I'm so proud of you guys. If you've not heard it today, hear it from me and believe it from me that I'm so proud of you. I love you all so much and I will see you in the next video. Could be a travel video, so I'll see you there. Bye.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So